This is Sun Tzu for OnGamers, and I'm here with Frodan, who's just been announced as the new coach of Tempo Storm. Could you tell us a bit, how did this come to be?
Yeah, so hey everybody, for those who don't know me, my name is Dan Cho. I also go by Frodan. I used to host ESGN, but now I do some stuff for Tempo Storm. So this kind of came about right after the whole ESGN thing, which I'm sure you're going to ask some questions about, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. I was kind of just working as many freelance things as I could. I asked people if I could cast this, could I help out with this? And my plan was to come to DreamHack and approach teams and ask them if I can work with them on any kind of project. Originally, I was working actually as a manager for Curse, kind of interim and as a trial, and that was for the month of May. And then about 2 weeks ago, Reynad approached me right after the whole ESGN thing came down, and he asked me, hey man, you want to come work for Tempo Storm? He gave me the whole spiel he always gives on stream. He says, I'm 22, I'm lazy, I just want to play games, I need someone to help me. And I said, dude, there's nothing I love more, because I really believe in the team and the project. So as of today was my official announcement, my first day on the job.
Cool. Okay, and what do you think you can bring to the Tempo Storm team? What do you see as your role?
So originally, Reynad approached me and he said, hey man, we need someone to help be a team manager. And I said, okay. But team manager for Tempo Storm means doing a lot more. We all wear different kinds of hats at the organization. Some of us are not just players, but we're also managing all kinds of stuff, doing all kinds of accounting, being a liaison, trying to talk to sponsors, also trying to do some administrative organization, logistics. So there's a lot of stuff there's to do that's helping the planning and behind the scenes for the team. I also do help organize practices and kind of talk over things with the team as well. Make sure that they're playing tournaments, make sure they're getting interviews, make sure that we're talking to sponsors and thanking them. So there's a lot of like important things that need to be established for this organization to work. Tempo Storm is a new team. There's a lot of organizations moving into the space like Curse. You saw TSM pick up Masan, and they're not the last teams to do it from what I've heard. And it's cool and all that these organizations are moving in, but they're moving in because they want to get their portion of the scene. Tempo Storm is part of the organic grassroots movement that kind of shows what Hearthstone's about, and that's why I really believe in it, because what Reynad wants to do, what I want to do with the team, all these things are really building up to a point where we really feel like Hearthstone is here to stay, and we want to be a big part of it.
Definitely. And Hearthstone seems to me a bit like a melting pot of esports. Like, for instance, on your team you have people who played Magic the Gathering, people who played Dota. You come from a StarCraft background, all these things. What does that mean for you as a member of this scene now?
Yeah, like Hearthstone is a game where everyone can kind of enjoy on all kinds of levels, and that is a very big representative of the future and potential of this game. You know, Hearthstone doesn't really necessarily appeal to the traditional gamer sense, but that's a good thing, because a lot of people love the high-paced action of Counter-Strike or the RTS, MOBA, StarCraft-esque things, but there's also a lot of strategy, decision-making, and people can relate easier, and I think part of the reason why Hearthstone is successful is because of that relatability. The fact that people think that they're better than every streamer they watch, and they say it in the Twitch chat, is a really good thing, because people feel like they're part of the game, they're engaged, and I think what needs to happen next is for production and broadcast to step up the viewer engageability of Hearthstone, because we see how poker and all these other games that are kind of slower are easy to watch because there's elements that make the game more engaging. And I feel like as Hearthstone continues to develop, we're still learning. Hearthstone has 2 stages here at DreamHack, but only one's being broadcasted, and it's being broadcasted on iPad minis, and we're still learning and toying around. All kinds of different formats are being experimented with, and I think the future of this game is extremely bright.
Yeah. Now, to talk a bit about the whole ESGN thing, it was a very tough break for you. Like, you come off of NASL, a really tough break there as well. What was your initial feeling when you realized, oh God, it's going to happen again?
Well, from one fire into another, huh? I did foresee what was going to happen at NASL when I did make the decision to leave. It wasn't like that I left and then all these things, I was just kind of like happy to take an opportunity and just leave. I did kind of see NASL, what was going on, and I really hoped to avoid it. Unfortunately, it kind of came to the same situation as ESGN. A lot of people are pointing at the investors, they're pointing at the management, they're pointing at a lot of the decisions being made by the teams, even the production value, and saying, you guys overspent here and there. The truth is, a lot of people are at blame, and you can kind of go back and fix all those things, but it's not as clean cut as people say it is. And as for the whole kind of situation of how it kind of came down, I think the most important thing people to realize is that this was an opportunity to be something special, and in the end, we just kept kind of diverting away more and more. If you kind of look back at the very beginning of ESGN's company mission and mandate, it said something completely different from what happened 3 months from then, and then 180 from 6 to 9 months from then. And that's just because esports is a fast industry, it's moving, and you can't really come out and try to say that what you want to do and control everything and be the big bully on this block when you're just kind of new, you're the new guy on the block. So in the end, the lessons we can take from ESGN, and I'll talk about it more over time as people continue to unravel what's actually happened, because I'm still learning what's going on there because I'm not part of the company anymore. But I guess the important lessons to learn is that these industries, even if they mean well, just continue to try to make smart decisions, and leadership is just so important, because as much as a lot of people are at blame, in the end it falls upon the leadership and how everything was kind of going down. So I'm sad that the project's going down, but at the same time, they're going to continue strong. I don't know what they're planning. I'm not really part of it anymore, but I wish them the best of luck, and we leave on amicable terms.
Yeah. One of the big contributions that ESGN did manage to do in the short time they was with us was the fact that you really sort of established Hearthstone as an esport, as a viable spectator sport. How much of that were you involved in sort of pushing this idea?
Yes, so I guess this isn't public knowledge, so On Gamers gets the first time to hear it, but ESGN wasn't even really planning on doing Hearthstone in the very beginning. We wanted to do games like, the traditional ones, StarCraft, Dota 2, even like, Counter-Strike and Street Fighter, like those are considered far ahead of Hearthstone in terms of our planning cycle. And it took a couple of convincing of people, but after a little bit, I was pretty much the one pushing for it. And I really thank you for bringing up that point, because I really feel like despite all the criticisms and negativity, all the doubts and cynicism, we still did something really cool for the scene. And we gave it its first storylines, we gave it its first players to root for, the first teams, and that's what I really wanted to accomplish throughout the entire process of Fight Night. I wanted to build the stories and reputation so that people had more than just LOL, RNG, top deck stories to talk about and spam and chat. I wanted heroes for them to root for, some villains to root for, or to hate rather, and I felt like it got that job done.
Yeah. And it also sort of it opened up a new scene for you. So in terms of, did you ever think you would be in the Hearthstone scene when you left NASL? Were you looking at Hearthstone already then as like, this could be something?
Absolutely not. When I first heard of Hearthstone from Rob Simpson, I think, he was saying like, oh man, Hearthstone was gonna be so cool. I was like, well, I played some Magic the Gathering, some cool card games in the past, but I don't know if it's for me. And then I tried it out and I got hooked, and ever since then it's kind of been in the history books. I kind of take it as the fact that I really, really love the game, and that's the same thing with anything I've ever worked on, whether it was StarCraft, whether it was FPS consoles that I used to compete in, whether it was Call of Duty and Halo and stuff like that. I really love the game that I'm part of. So Hearthstone for me is not because I felt like StarCraft was dead. That's what everyone's going to ask you. Did you see StarCraft was dying off? Did you leave it because you wanted to go for greener pastures? That's not the case at all. It was that I was working on Hearthstone a lot. I saw there's an opportunity to work on a cool passion project, and it's developed into so much more. I didn't think Hearthstone would get the numbers it had for $70,000 for an arena tournament online or a big LAN event, 50K. I didn't expect that. And I really want to continue working with Hearthstone in any capacity I have. But at the same time, I don't really have that concrete future plans. But for now, all I'm really focused on is making sure that Tempo Storm it becomes successful, more legitimized, and help them establish themselves as a professional team.
Yeah. How do you see sort of the scene developing? What's going to be the next big step for Hearthstone?
Oh man. You didn't actually tell me you're going to mention that question. So what is the next big step for Hearthstone? I think at this point, Hearthstone's actually grown a little too quickly, at least in terms of the competitive scene. We still haven't even figured out an ideal tournament format yet. I think the best thing we've figured out so far is a last hero standing, king of the hill, like, bring 3 decks. If you lose a clash, you can't play it. But ever since then, we still haven't figured out if Swiss is good, if double elimination is good, if seeding is good, if open bracket is good, best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, what is it going to be? We don't even have a spectator client. And Blizzard's been working on all those things. They're trying to develop Curse and Naxxramas. So at the same time, as much as I understand that Hearthstone's growing, it's exciting, it's a new game, people are kind of doubting it, and that kind of makes it more exciting to prove them wrong. At the same time, I kind of want people to take the pacing a little bit better, understand that we need more tries at this, because they're saying this is the biggest DreamHack tournament, and yet there's a lot of drawbacks until, they're complaining about it not being streamed on Twitch, they're complaining about best of 3s, they're complaining about seedings. The game is just getting started. The client doesn't have a spectator client. We don't have a lot of these options. Bear with us. I think a lot of people I think it's growing at a great place. There's nothing really needs to be done. People don't realize, I'm going on a soapbox here. People don't realize Blizzard's done an excellent job with Hearthstone in its first year. The fact that they're throwing a big tournament and also getting community tournaments involved with like Zotac and TTE Sports, they've done it right. Because now they're making all kinds of things matter versus kind of how some big tournaments and other games make all other tournaments irrelevant. And I think Blizzard's doing a good job keeping it slow, and I think people need to keep that pace and just be reminded that Hearthstone is still new to thousands and thousands of people. And so I don't have any next step answers for you, but my thing is the next step has to come from the developer side, because we're still struggling with a lot of tournament tools, and when that happens, we'll have everything we need.
Last question then. How do you think your team is going to do at this event? Is Gara going to carry it again? Is Reyna going to finally get his land victory?
Reyna just lost his first series in a pretty tight series against Daniel Kutin, the finalist from DreamHack Bucharest. So I don't know if I can necessarily pin it on him, because his spirits are kind of shaken. Tides is an extremely good player, although he's not feeling very well. So if I had to put all my eggs in one basket, I would say Gara is going to go the farthest for Tempo Storm.
Okay, cool. Thank you, and this has been Sun Tzu for On Gamers. See you guys later.